And let's go ahead and have our announcements.
Daniel Trout for the department, and Tori Cook is my permanency specialist today.
Kenner Rojo for the mother, Alexandra Vasquez, for both present and ready.
Jerry Morales for respondent father, Calvin Sams. He is present. We are ready, Your Honor. I may need a minute or two to talk to him, or I probably can talk to him afterwards if there's nothing he needs. He called me, and he was incarcerated when this started, and we spoke then. When he got out, he called me. I tried to call him back, and I don't know if his number's changed since, but I haven't received a call back. So I haven't spoken to him in about a month.
Well, Jerry, I don't want to handicap you. Would you prefer to maybe talk to him before we get started?
Yeah, Judge, I think that would be beneficial. Just a minute or two would be great. Thank you.
Okay. I've reviewed the family plans of service and Judge Baker's notes, and went back and even read the original affidavit. So I have a little bit of background on this. But if the department doesn't mind, Tori, if you don't mind just giving me kind of an update on where we're at.
Yes, Judge. Both parents have started setting up their services. I believe almost all of them have been set up so far. There was a order of protection for Calvin. I think that expires today. So I was just going to ask about that, if he's able to do visits, because he hasn't had visits yet. But visits have been happening with Alexandra as we can get them set up. They've both gone in drug screen for me. I haven't gotten Calvin's results back. I did file Alexandra's with the court, but that's about where we're at for now.
The order of protection, I know there's a current order that the parents not have any contact, and you want that to stay in place, right?
Well,
Yeah.
And
Okay.
Judge, I may speak on that. I believe when the original incident happened with this case, a MOAP was put in place and lasts for the 61 days. The cases were dropped with the MOAP stayed in place. And I believe, and I talked to the DA when this first came up, and they also had put the children on the MOAP. And so Mr. Sams wasn't able to have contact due to that MOAP, but I believe that is about to run its course. Yes, sir.
Okay, so Tori, would we envision that Calvin would be getting the same kind of weekly visitation that Alexandria is currently exercising?
Yes. Yeah.
And that would be through the department at a location of their choosing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so far you feel like you've gotten good cooperation from these two parents?
Yes.
Good, that's good to see. We don't see that all the time. Janelle, does CASA have any additional things they'd like to add?
The children are doing very well in their placements. I do know that mom has been getting her visits. I have set up twice we've set up to visit with mom, and something keeps getting in the way. So hopefully we'll be able to meet with the parents very soon. My recommendations are, the children remain in their placements and parents do their services.
Okay. And I don't want to reveal, of course, the name or the location, but is it my understanding mom is currently in a facility for domestic violence?
Not any longer.
Or am I right?
She was,
Okay.
but not any longer. Yes.
Okay, and do we feel like she's found appropriate housing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Stacy, anything as the ad litem you'd like to address?
The kids are doing very well in placement. Avian's having some struggles at school, but they're working on that in terms of some aggression. He does ask about the babies. And so I know that that they get to see each other in person when there's a visit with mom, when they have an in-person visit. So I hope that continues. I think maybe there was one that was canceled due to some conflict, and just want to make sure that he's still being able to see the babies whenever possible. And I think that's being done in visits. But placements they're doing very well in placement, and I recommend that continue.
Is it my understanding that Avian's actually placed here and the other children are currently in Lubbock?
That's correct.
And it's also my understanding, I think from other cases I've worked, that there's actually transportation that brings the children here for visitation.
Tori may be able to speak to this a little bit better, but I know that there's some transportation on either meeting halfway or going to Lubbock, but she should have the specific.
Yeah, and it's been kind of a pain setting it up, but yeah, what would happen is Avian would get taken down to Lubbock since the other 3 are so young.
And when that happens, does that also coincide with mom's visitation?
Yes.
So now that we're going to let Calvin also have visitation, but we don't want Calvin and Alexandria to have contact, that's going to create some additional pains for y'all in getting that scheduled, I would assume.
A little bit, but yeah, I've been working hard trying to figure it out. So
Okay, okay. Jerry, have you had an opportunity to visit with your client and kind of go over the proposed family plan of service?
Yes, Your Honor, he indicated that he didn't have any questions and he did get it started. The questions he did have, I believe Mr. Trout and Ms. Cook had answered because he asked me about the protective order and I wasn't aware of whether it was a 60-day or 90-day. With that being said, yeah, he was wanting to get visitation started. And yeah, he indicated to me the case would drop. So I think he's ready to hit the ground running.
Right. Now, as far as you know, no objection to any of the proposed family plan requirements.
That's correct, Your Honor, no objection.
And he, as far as you know, doesn't have any disabilities or restrictions of any kind that would prohibit him from completing those.
Not of which I'm aware.
Okay. I know sometimes, we have transportation issues or work issues or those kinds of things that we might want to discuss. But as far as you know, he ought to be able to do all that.
I believe so, Your Honor.
Okay, great. Kendra, how about you? Have you had a chance to go over that with your client?
Yes, Your Honor, she has already started working on her services. She's already had 2 sessions of the individual counseling. She's scheduled her RBT for May 5th, and she's going to schedule her online therapy. And she did provide a recent drug screen, which she told me was clean.
Good, that's good. And then are we having both parents do the RBT class?
Yes, sir, I believe so.
yes, both.
Okay. I'll tell you, Alexandria and Calvin, I've actually taken that course. I assume it's with Troy Timmons, and I took it from Troy, and you guys are going to enjoy that. I know some of this stuff seems kind of tough and stuff, but it's really enjoyable and very illuminating. I mean, it helped me with some issues that I have. So
Yeah, and
I
I've
think-
heard really good things about Troy Timmons as well, so.
yeah, Troy's a one. So you guys will enjoy that. So Alexandria, you've had a chance to talk to Kendra, and is there anything in that plan that concerns you or you feel like it's going to be difficult for?
No, like I said, I've already I hit the ground running already and I'm pushing forward and everything's in motion. Kendra can say more about like what I am wanting and stuff.
Yeah, I wanted. So Judge, Ms. Vasquez is requesting to have her visitation increase because she is working services. I believe she has 1 hour a week with Avian right now, and there hasn't been much visitation with the children in Lubbock because of the conflict issue that had happened. She said that she'd be willing to also travel to Lubbock more often if need be for visitation as well. And she is asking, sorry, Judge, she is also asking that Mr. Sams refrain from contacting her. Apparently he has been attempting to contact her and she does not want to have any contact with him.
Okay, and I'll sure address that. Tori, what can we do to try to, if Alexandra is willing to travel, would we be able to step that up?
Yeah, and I think the biggest issue right now is if it's only on Saturday that she can go, which the foster parents can do as well. But if it wants to be more time, then honestly, taking off work or working a half day or, would really help, because by the time she gets down there after 5 o'clock, those kiddos are so young that it's not going to be much of a visit. They'll already be falling asleep. I did request that we do have 2-hour visits when she does go to Lubbock, and then her visits with Avian are scheduled at 1.5 hours right now. So that's kind of what we're looking at. But if we could do during the week, if she could be able to get down there by 5:30 or 6, that would make it easier on us.
Okay, well, I'd like that to happen, and let y'all just coordinate that, because I know there's a lot of moving parts on that. Calvin, you've had an opportunity to visit with Mr. Morales and go over that plan. Is there anything in that plan that concerns you or you think you might have a difficulty completing?
No, not at all. I've already got a bunch of it set up. It's just trying to get it scheduled around the work schedule.
Okay, what are you currently doing for work?
I'm working 2 jobs right now. I'm currently working at Pride Home Center in the lumberyard, and then I'm also working at Bill's Auto Glass.
Oh, excellent. Okay. And, we've still got this no contact in place, so I don't want you contacting Alexandria about anything, either in person, on the phone, social media, any of those things, okay?
Right, and I don't understand where that accusation came from, because I haven't even tried to reach out or anything. I've got her blocked on all social media platforms, don't have her number, don't have anything, so I don't know where that accusation even came from.
Okay, well, and I know when you've got children in common, that there have to be things communicated about the children, but the good news is, you've got a caseworker, you've got a CASA worker, and you've got an attorney all working for the kids. And so if you have any concerns about that or need to communicate anything about the kids, just address that to them and not to Alexandria. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Very good.
Judge,
Stacey-
if I may real quick, Judge, I'm sorry. Mr. Morales mentioned, wasn't sure about the MOAB, whether it was 60 or 90 days. I believe it was 60, but I will just let him know. I will double check on that, just so nobody gets in trouble. Let me make sure that it is 60 days instead.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Trout.
But I'll try to email you today, Jerry, about that.
Thank you.
Stacey, anything you'd like the court to know?
No, Your Honor, I think mine's already been covered, and I would just recommend that placement continue.
Okay, and everybody's seen kind of the recommendations. Does anybody have any objections to the court approving those recommendations? Okay, well, I will name the department as continuing temporary managing conservator of Avian and of Willow, Rain, and Serona. I do find that their current placements are appropriate and will continue to approve those and order those. I will order that the family plan of service for each client be approved and made an order of the court. Order that there continue to be a no contact provision between Alexandria and Calvin. Folks, the parents, I just need to continue to advise you that, you need to continue to comply as you've been doing, which is great, with the services and the court's orders. Failure to do that could, result in continued removal of the children and ultimately could result in termination. And so those are really important things. And, unfortunately, we don't always see parents that are being proactive like y'all are. And I appreciate that. And I want you to continue to do that. And I know your goal is to reunite with those precious little kids. And that's our goal too. And you got a whole group of people here that are working for you and cheering for you. So you've got that support. And so, and the other thing is, don't be afraid to reach out. And if something's not working or something's not quite right, reach out to somebody and let them know. And I'll tell you that, I, in addition to doing this, I also run a drug court. And one of the things I see a lot is when you're working services through CPS, and then you also might be court involved, is sometimes we're asking you to do two different things at the same time. And you might get put in a situation where you got to choose to obey one and not obey the other. And we do not want to set you up to fail. We want you to be successful. And so if you've got something else where you're supposed to be in court in Potter County for one thing and court in Randall County for another, just for example, let somebody know that. Don't just blow something off and then, have to explain it later. We can work with y'all on schedules. We can make things, we can move things to make it appropriate for you. I realize we've got you doing a lot of stuff, but it's stuff I think that's going to improve your lives and improve the lives of your children. And so it's important that you do those, but it's also important that we don't put you in a situation where you're going to get in trouble because of something we did. Okay. So please, always, if there's something like that, let somebody know, let your caseworker know, let your lawyer know, let Ms. Zavala know, the CASA worker know, somebody, so that we can address that and make sure you're at the right place at the right time. Okay. Will you do that? Both do that for me? Okay. All right. Well, good luck to both of you. And I'll look forward to hearing about your progress. And do we need to schedule another hearing or have we already got one?
It's set for August 29th at 9 a.m. docket, Your Honor.
How long is that? Sorry, I just need to know how many. It's May. It's about May, June, July, August. So 3 months.
Yeah, about 3 months.
Awesome. All right. Sounds great.
And you'll get everybody will get notification on it and what time set, just like we did for today.
Let's have an announcement.
August 29th. Daniel Trout for the department, and Michelle Slagle is my primacy specialist today.
Jay Michelson for the respondent mother, Crystal Rodriguez.
Bill Taylor, representing Saul Vallejo, respondent father in the 096422D case. I'm present ready. Saul Vallejo is not present. I've had no contact with him since early in the case. I did talk to him early in the case and had a phone number for him, but he's not set up a voicemail, and I have a email for him, but he's not returned any of my attempts to contact him since the last hearing. Ready, Your Honor.
Nance,
I was gonna go last because I've got Jorge Bolanos, and that's in the last case you called, Judge. He is currently incarcerated, will not be joining us, but I am ready.
Stacy Zavala on behalf of all the kids.
all right, very good. Well, Michelle, if you don't mind, maybe just giving us an update of what's going on.
The kids are doing well. They are actually placed with Bolano's ex-wife in Dumas at this time. And we have did a home study on that home, but it's not back. It's not back yet. And then mom is doing better. She is wanting to go to inpatient rehab, and that's what she's working on right now. And she's willing to comply with her service plan.
What inpatient rehabs do we have available? Are we able to use Centocor here?
Yes, we are. I know she was wanting to look at one in New Mexico. I'm not for sure of the reasoning for that. We just briefly visited this morning, so I wasn't able to find out why she was wanting the one in New Mexico.
Okay, well, we might let her tell us that, or her counsel here in a minute. Stacy, any update you have on the kids situation?
The kids seem to be doing well. I was able to visit with them in their placement. I didn't get to visit with placement themselves. Babysitter was there, but she seemed very appropriate. Girls, they all seem to be doing very good. They have, the girls identified for me a number of different family members that they'd like to have some sort of contact with. And I can get with Michelle and we can toss around the names and see if it's possible or appropriate to make any of that happen. So I'll forward over an email with all the names that they gave me. And then Michelle, I don't know if they've got a kinship worker, but I know the school there has a dress code and they're really in need of some collared shirts. So if there's anything we can do to assist them with that, I think that would be helpful. But the kids are doing really well. They're really nervous about STAR testing. And I think it was hard to be moved around and then have to be under the STAR testing. Natalie was saying she could use some extra help in math, but I think they're working on getting that done. But they are doing well.
Jay, have you had a chance to visit with Crystal about the family plan of service?
Yes, sir, I have. Crystal indicated that she signed the family service plan on April 25th, I believe. She expressed some confusion about what the goals are. She's not quite clear about what's expected of her. So Ms. Schlegel, if you could get back in touch with her about what those goals are. I plan to spend a little bit more time with her also about what those goals represent. She is apparently in Albuquerque at the moment. She's trying to get a bus back home. Apparently she missed the bus this morning. She's coming back to Texas tomorrow morning. She has some connections there. She tells me she was a Phi Beta Kappa student before a lot of this transpired. She'd like to go back to the nursing program in Albuquerque. She also indicates her brother is the subject of a home study in Austin. She was also thinking as a possibility of being able to go to treatment in Austin, if that's a possibility of her brother getting the home study approved.
Hey, other than the kiddos, what other connections does Crystal have to Amarillo?
I believe her father resides here, and that's her connection here.
Okay. As far as any of the things that are being asked of her in the plan, are you aware of any major hurdles or impediments like transportation issues or other things that we need to try to address?
She was indicating that Marcus is her driver. There's a number of issues she needs to satisfy, like she wants to get her ID, and so there's some issues about trying to make arrangements to get that accomplished. She's also not clear what she needs to do for treatment, so I suggested that she gets with Ms. Slagle and talks about that.
Well, if she comes back to Amarillo, would we just make a referral out to Centocor and she'd need to go out there and get assessed and staffed?
Yeah, and we also have the Marcus that she's talking about is going to be her parent support worker also. He just got assigned to her last week to be able to help her with those services and make sure she gets those done. And yes, she just needs to call Centocor and do an intake, and they'll let her know when a bed is open.
Okay. And so do we need to give her a number today to call once she makes it back to Amarillo tomorrow, hopefully?
Yeah, I can absolutely do that. Yes.
Okay. And Crystal, I'll tell you, I'm just being a visiting judge today, but my main side gig is I'm the drug court judge. So I work with Senecor on a weekly basis, and that's a really good facility. And I know a lot of our ladies that are in Downtown Women's Center and some of the other shelters, or just even those that are out on their own, have had a really good result there. And I would really encourage you to contact them. I think they can give you some help. Bill, as far as your client's concerned, is he working any services that you know of?
As far as I know, he's not. Early on, he did talk like he was interested in trying to get his act together, but at that time he was living with a friend and didn't have a place of his own and was not employed, and was hopeful that he would get his act together. But my understanding is he's talked to the investigative worker initially about even possibly signing a relinquishment, and I'm not aware of him having any contact with anyone since that time.
Okay.
He's not followed up with any contact with me, not responded to my letters or my emails, or like I say, he doesn't have a voicemail. He has a phone number, but not a voicemail. So it rings, but to no avail.
Okay.
So as far as I know, he's making no effort.
Vince, how about your client?
Judge, my guy was in prison at the time of the allegations that gave rise to the instant petition. And Michelle, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think his family plan of service was just filed last evening at 7 o'clock. And I guess I think I know the answer to this question, Michelle. Have you had a chance to go over the plan of service with Jorge?
No, I haven't. I have sent him his family plan of service, and I sent him his child plan for Natalie also, the return envelope in it, but I have not heard anything. But we did request an LPS worker also to be able, hopefully, to go out and see him.
Excellent. Is there I heard in another hearing something like a handbook for inmates that will assist them in completing services while they're incarcerated. Is that something that exists?
Not to my acknowledgement. I have had some fathers that have been able to work certain services while they're in. They just get with them and see what classes they have available for them to do in their specific jail that they're in.
Gotcha. And I kind of skimmed over the plan of service. It looked like a lot of it where it says provider, it just said self.
Yes. And
So
that's
there's not a
just,
whole,
I'm sorry. That's just because he's incarcerated and he'll have to get with them to be able to see if he can do those services while he's there.
I understand. Thank you. And that, Judge, that's all I have.
Vince, that pamphlet you're talking about might be something like Prison Ministries does or something. You might contact my old bailiff, Robert Bird, who's now bailiffing for Judge Johnson, and he's involved in prison ministry. He might know something about that.
We can do that.
I'll do that, Judge. Thank you.
And do we know, Vince, when his potential parole date is or discharge of his sentence?
Well, he got 17 years in 2017. So if he serves it all out, we're looking at 34. He was denied parole in 22 and he's not up for parole. He's not on the parole review status.
Okay, so we're looking at him hopefully completing those services. Michelle, I'm going to show my ignorance here just because I don't do a lot of this. When we have an incarcerated individual, do we allow family members like grandma or someone else to exercise any of the rights that the parent otherwise would exercise?
We have in the past, yes. That's just something when it comes up, I visit with my supervisor about that. But yes, we have did that.
If someone wanted to do that, who would make that designation? Would Vince's client make some kind of designation that I designate my mother, for instance, or how does that work?
Oh, I'm not for sure. I usually have grandparents that reach out to me and want to have that visit. So I've never had to actually go out and find someone. I do know Natalie is having contact with his children that she's half siblings with. She has daily contact with them.
Okay. Well, I guess just under the premise that it takes a village, if we've got interested, supportive, loving folks that want to be in those kids' lives, I just want to encourage it.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else with regard to the proposed family plans of service? Does anybody have any objections to any of that?
No.
Okay. Well, with that, then I'll continue to name the department as the temporary managing conservator of Natalie, of Randall, and of Diamond. I will order that the placement be continued and approved, approve the recommendations, and also order that the family plan of service be made. In order.
Daniel Trout for the department, and Samara Duran is my permanency specialist today.
Natalie Archer for the mother, Tashiana Klein, who is present and ready.
Jerry Morales for respondent father, Cameron Douglas Coleman. Your Honor, he's still incarcerated, but I did speak with him last week. We are ready.
Brooks Barfield for J. Rowe Tyler. We are both present and ready.
Stacy Zavala for the kids here and ready.
With regard to the Davis matter, is there a father involved in that one?
And then there's an unknown
Okay.
father, I believe, on the Coleman child.
That confused me. And I have looked at the reports and also went back and looked at the original affidavit that got this started, and Judge Baker's notes. But Samara, if you don't mind kind of updating us on what's going on currently.
Since I filed the court reports, Your Honor, Kamaya and Tanaya have moved from their respite placement to a more permanent placement out at High Plains. Kingston and Pharaoh are still with the foster home here in Amarillo. Other than that, I don't believe that we have any updates.
In terms of work and services, how are our parents coming along on that?
Mr. Tyler has completed individual counseling, his psychosocial assessment, and he recently became employed in a job that will be able to be more permanent. We're still working on housing for him. Ms. Klein has completed her psychosocial assessment and reports that she'll have her last parenting class tonight, so she'll be able to get me a certificate tomorrow. She was in counseling. We've had an issue. She said that she didn't like her counselor, that she felt like she was being pushed to medication, and that's not what she wants. So I'm looking into finding her someone else.
Natalie, I'm sorry, Stacy, any update on the kiddos?
I was able to visit with all the kids in person. When I saw the girls, they were still in their respite placement, so I haven't been out to the new location. In general, the girls are doing well, but Tanaya's having some real behavior issues that I know she started counseling, and hopefully that will help as well. But some definite issues that need to be worked through. I also visited with the boys in their placement. They're doing well. Some very basic health stuff that placement is all completely on top of. So I've got no concerns at this time about either placement.
And I can't remember, are the boys housed here?
They're here in town.
Okay. And I'm not, just for my education, I'm not familiar with the respite. Is that usually a pretty short-term stay to kind of get people stabilized?
Yes, Your Honor. So, I'm sorry, Stacy.
Go ahead.
It's supposed to be. I believe that it's a 14-day maximum unless you get approval for 30 days. We had an issue in the girls' foster home. Tanaya was slapped in the face after she spit in her foster mom's face. So we moved them to respite and worked to find a more permanent placement. I believe they were there for a little over a month.
Okay. And let's see, Natalie, you've had a chance to visit, I guess, with Ms. Klein, and how about her progress? Anything you'd like to weigh in on? Any problems she's having?
No, she's working on getting housing because that's been an issue. She's done an application. She is concerned about the girls being moved around so much. And I couldn't remember at the start of the case, we had looked at, I guess the department decided the girls could not be placed with Tashiana's mother. I don't know if a home study was ever done, but Tashiana and her mother are both interested in well, the mother says she'll keep everybody, but for sure the girls that are being moved around so much, grandma has an interest in taking care of them, but I'm not sure what's been researched in the past in that regard by the department.
Samara, do you know, have we looked into grandma?
We have not looked into grandma. We looked into a maternal aunt. That home study was denied for a list of reasons. It's my understanding that we would not be able to place with the maternal grandmother because there is prior CPS history. Her children were removed from her in the past.
So that's one thing I wanted to know. But other than that, my client wants to work services. She's said she's going to give up marijuana. She's trying to move in the right direction.
Let's see. And Jerry, did you say your client's currently incarcerated?
Yes, Your Honor. I give the department two names last hearing, and I think with maternal aunt ordered a home study. No home study was ordered for either maternal grandmother or maternal great grandmother, both who have expressed interest to me in placement. And I forget, I'm speaking with both of them on numerous occasions. I think one of them said that they might only be able to accommodate the two girls, and the other one said maybe all four children. His mother's name is Deidre Coleman. His grandmother, who would be great grandmother, is Addie Pride. I'm not sure specifics on their ages, but I know that they're both very responsive. I call them, and if they don't answer, they call me back frequently. In fact, I had to call his grandmother because Randall County Jail told me that he wasn't there. And so I was like, well, where's he at? Did he get bonded out? She said, no, I just visited him. And so I had to call him back, and they just, I guess we're looking up the wrong name. And but yes, Addie Pride and Deidre Coleman, I would like a home study done, or at least investigation onto whether or not they do potential placement.
What is your
I do have
in Randall County awaiting trial or awaiting catching the train or serving a sentence? What's his situation?
Unfortunately, he is awaiting trial, and he said he hasn't heard much from his defense attorney. I reached out to his defense attorney. I don't know. He said that he hasn't even been offered, a plea bargain. So,
do we know what the potential range of punishment is on what he's been charged with?
Your Honor, I believe it's a third 2 to 10, but I think there's a potential for enhancement because he's and so it could be 2 to 20. I'm not sure how exactly he's indicted on that.
Okay. Brooks, how about your client? Have you had a chance to visit with him, and how are things going?
Well, he's been working services like was reported. One of the concerns I think that he expressed is that he keeps being told, not by the department or anything like that, or work or anything like that he's not the father. And I think we need genetic testing, Judge, in this particular case. He's going to continue to work services, but I think at this point, he's being told that, I believe, by mom, or at least that's what's been reported. And so my deal is, before we get too far down the road, this is a forever deal if he's adjudicated the father. And I think he would be willing, and I think he wants to participate in DNA. With that being said, if he is the biological father, he wants to continue working services. But if he's not, we need to, for the children's sake and everybody's sake, we need to get that clarified.
Smart.
But other than that, he's moved here from Dallas. He's got a job. I think he's at work right now. He's trying to find a place, obviously, making me seasick. But bottom line is he's continuing to work services, cooperate to the extent. But I think right now we need that genetic testing. That's my main issue for today. He's going to continue to cooperate, and he wants to do the right thing. But I think for his sake, we owe it I owe an obligation to him as his attorney to see that genetic testing is done. That's it.
Daniel, does the department have any objection to me ordering that testing?
No, sir. If he's requesting that to clarify them.
Okay. How do we go about coordinating that?
I'm sending an email right now, Judge. If you want to go ahead and order it, we'll get an order sent stuff.
Oh, awesome. I appreciate that. What do we do about making the children available?
Once we get the order, we'll get notification of when it's going to get set up and when we need to get screenings, and that will be emails will be sent back and forth on getting those.
Oh, very good. Well, I'll grant that request then, Brooks, and order that. But other than that, everything else seems to be going well.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I've lost track. Natalie, you've already addressed the court, haven't you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
I don't have anything to add.
Okay. Well, does anybody have any objections to the recommendations that have been made by the department?
Could I speak on Cameron's parent situation?
Sure.
There's his grandma would definitely be fine to take the kids or whatever. But as far as mom, they're she has kids under 18 that are running around here acting crazy, not even in school. Her boyfriend has been known to hit on her kids and stuff like that. So that's that definitely wouldn't be something that would and it's a long history of family. I've known them since I was 9 years old. So it's I know them. The grandma, she's a great lady. So that's definitely would be a go. But as far as the mom, I know investigations and stuff would go on and, stuff like that. But as far as placing the kids with her alone and her husband, that sits on my conscience. I'd rather them stay where they're at right now, if that's the case,
Fine. Just so we're clear, and I want to make sure the record's clear. Tell me the name of the grandmother that you're saying would be okay.
Addie Pride.
Okay. And then tell me the name of the mother that you do not think would be appropriate.
Deidre Coleman.
Okay. Okay. I appreciate
And,
you.
oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
And I heard you say you got confused about that and like the situation with Kamaya, because Kamaya's father is also incarcerated, but that's like unknown. It was just like a one-time thing, and it was a mistake. But I just haven't got her last name changed. And Kim, like he doesn't even know what the girls look like what his daughter looks like. So that's why she has our original last name, and I was adopted, so my last name is Klein. So it's just a bit complicated. But our original last name is Davis.
Okay. Well, I was adopted by my father, so I had that same situation. So I know what you're talking about. Well, I've got you on the speaker, Ms. Klein. Is there anything with regard to your services that currently is a problem for you or hard for you to complete?
No, I'm doing my I'm doing some type of female like drug recovery classes with some lady named Keisha, I believe her name is. So I'm just doing those, like we just talking and stuff like that. But my parenting classes will be completed today, and Miss Tamara talked yesterday, so I'm gonna basically like just restart therapy, and I'll probably like continue that even after I'm finished, like just let loose, talk, things like that. But other than that, no, not really. I signed up for HUD. And there's an apartments that every Tuesday we can go to and sign up for those. So I'll be doing those. And I have an interview with Burger King. So I'll have those check stubs and verification of jobs rolling in for you guys. And I have a card and stuff like that. So basically I'm just waiting for the housing.
Okay. Well, good. Well, I'm proud of you on that parenting class, and you've got a great attitude about the counseling. It's nice to have a non-judgmental, friendly person to talk to about things and I've had counseling myself, and it was always wonderful. So I'd encourage you to keep that up as long as you want to. All right. Well, with that then,
Judge,
yes.
I apologize if I may real quick. I'm not sure if I misheard, but did Ms. Klein say that she knew who the possible father was on Kamaya's case? Because we have it as an unknown right now. So if she has a name for us, then we need to look into it.
Oh, yeah, Ms. Klein, do you have a name we could look into?
Yes, kind of. Like it was like, I do. His name is Darnell, but that's kind of like he doesn't even know, that I was young, and we didn't make a mistake. My kids are not a mistake, but we had our little, so yeah. And he's been in jail since she was born, so it's like I don't even know where he's at or anything. So
what's his last name?
Glass.
Darnell Glass.
Yes.
Does he have family still here in Amarillo?
Yeah, yes. His mom. She just got married, so her last name has changed. But her first name is Candace. I know where she lives. She lives right across the street from a park that we go to. But as anything else, like knowing the family and stuff like that, no, I have no idea.
And Judge, what I would ask is if Ms. Klein can get together with Ms. Duran and get that information to make sure that we have it right, so that we can look into it, just so we can have this case as clean as we can.
Ms. Klein, Ms. Duran, your caseworker will follow up with you on that, and just so we can maybe put out some feelers and see if we can locate Darnell, okay, and give him a chance to participate.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. All right.
Your Honor, I'm sorry to interrupt as well. But if I sent a direct message to Ms. Duran, and if she can confirm that she received it, I sent her Deidre Coleman's number, who obviously may not be a possibility, but also Addie Pride's number.
I did get it. I was just typing thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay, well, we'll continue the department as the temporary managing conservatorship, approve all the children's placements. I find those to be appropriate and in their best interest. I know there was a request that Ms. Klein complete her psychosocial, but it sounds like she's done that. So we've got that covered.
Your Honor, if I may. In her psychosocial evaluation, it was recommended that she take a psychological evaluation. They're two very different things. So if we could get that ordered as well.
I will order that. And then
Thank you.
I also saw in one of the requests, you were wanting her to be drug tested today. Is that still something you'd like to have done?
Yes, Your Honor, for both Ms. Klein and Mr. Tyler.
Okay, and I would order then that urinalysis drug screen be completed today by 4 p.m. if that's possible. Do you know, Brooks, what time does Mr. Tyler get off work?
I don't know, but we can, Mr. Tyler, what time do you get off work?
That same time.
At 4?
I came in early today, so I get off at 3. I came in at 6 instead of 7 o'clock because of I knew the court was gonna throw an hour off. So if you see me right now, I'm in a truck, like working right now. So I'm trying, but yeah, I'll get off by 3 o'clock.
Okay, well, I'll order both of y'all to go have a drug screen by 4 p.m. this afternoon. And do we know, Daniel, when our next hearing
Yes,
is?
Isabella, on behalf
It'll
of
be
Sarai, here
August
and ready.
24th on the 9 o'clock.
Very good. And I did review the report, also went back and looked at the original affidavit that got this started in Judge Baker's notes. So I know a little bit about the case. But Jennifer, if you don't mind, just kind of update us on our progress.
Mr. Ballard has not initiated any services. He is supposed to start parenting classes through our Fatherhood Fire program tomorrow. But other than that, he has not initiated any services. He has expressed to me that he has done services before and didn't feel like that they helped. So that's where I'm at on that. And Mom, I have no idea. I have not spoken to her probably in a month and a half or so, whenever we were going through issues with Sarai in the beginning. And so I have no idea about her.
Remind me where Sarai is currently.
Sarai actually has been moved since the court report was filed. She was moved to another RTC called up Houston, Texas.
Go ahead.
She seems to be doing better in that placement. I do believe she is the only child in that placement. I do know that there was supposed to be a possible child coming into that placement, but as far as I know, she is the only one. We haven't had any issues so far, which I'm very thankful for. She seems to be doing a lot better and thinking about the repercussions of her actions and everything. So I'm very satisfied with what's going on at this moment.
And we've got so many today, maybe I'm running different cases into each other, but am I correct that Sarai was the one that ran away from a team meeting recently, or?
No.
Okay.
That was an earlier case.
Okay. Okay.
She has ran away, but
Okay.
not from a team meeting.
I see. Okay. And does she currently have some special needs of any kind?
There are not any special needs that I'm aware of. She is very behind in school right now. She has been in the psych hospital numerous times since being in our care. And so I'm hoping that maybe she can get on the right track. I don't know if she can get ahead or not. She may have to do summer school to get back on track. But I will make sure that I keep updated on that. And, you know, if there's any needs that she needs, you know, I can address those with her and help her through everything, or try to anyway, and placement.
Just for my reading of the notes and my recollection, it's just that I know the parents have had difficulty with her because of behavioral issues and emotional and psychological issues. And do we feel like any of that's improving?
I feel like that it's too early to tell right now, just due to her being in the mental hospital so much and refusing to take her medication at other placements. But I honestly believe that those other placements weren't taking care of her needs in the way that she needs to be. She needs a firm, structured environment and someone that's going to be on her, you know, to take her medications. I know that we can't make anybody do anything, but I feel like that if she feels like that people are on her side, you know, and that they're willing to help her, I think that that would help her tremendously.
And you feel like the current placement has the best chance so far of being that place?
So far, I mean, we've moved to 3 different placements within 2 months because she was running away in the psych hospital, all kinds of stuff. And I think that this placement has her best interest at heart at the moment.
What kind of communication is she able to have in this placement with her parents?
Sarai has expressed to me when I talked to her the other day that she did not want to have any contact with them as of right now.
If that changes, I assume, Zoom, FaceTime, things like that might be
Yes.
available.
Yes, sir. She can call them. The case manager at the facility did ask me about placing her parents on the call list. And that's when Soraya expressed, I don't want them on there right now. So I just left it at that.
What about siblings? Does she have any siblings that she contacts?
She does have a sibling who is, I think she's 17 now. They had gotten into a fight. They were having contact with each other regularly, but they had gotten into a fight, and she expressed to me that she doesn't want to have contact with her right now either.
Was that actually at the father's home?
No, this was at a placement that she was at. I don't know what transpired or anything. She didn't give me details, but I was just going based off what she said.
Do we know where's that sibling currently housed or living?
She actually is not in care. She is, she lives with her boyfriend and they have a child together.
Okay, so she's already started a life of her own then.
Mhm.
Okay. Stacy, any update on the child that you'd like me to know?
Yeah, I actually got to Zoom with her yesterday, and I have met with Soraya before where she won't get out of bed, things like that. She looked great. I mean, she really looked good. Now, I'm hoping it's not just a honeymoon period, but I mean, she talked to me, it was after her first day of school at this new school. She seemed positive. I got to kind of interact with one of the women there at the home a little bit, and seems like a promising fit. And so I've got my fingers crossed on this one. She did indicate to me that she didn't currently want contact with her sister because of an argument that they had. She had mentioned to me about at this time, no contact with dad. When she was saying that, she had also mentioned, I called my dad a while back. He said that he wanted to take me back. And then I heard from caseworker that wasn't true. And I said, look, I have no idea, but I just explained, I said, a lot of times, parents need to work on things, you need to work on things, and it may be hard for him to say, look, we're not ready yet. And that may be what he's meaning. He may mean, hey, maybe sometime in the future, but we're just not ready yet. And so I kind of walked her through that. But right now she just doesn't want any contact with anybody. She did say there are more girls moving into the home, I think today. She asked if she could have a roommate, but I do agree. I think right now we're asking that she not have a roommate. And I do think that that's in her best interest, even though that's what she's expressing to me that she wants. But based on past history and I think it's better for her to have some space, so, but I've got my fingers crossed about this placement. It seems promising.
Good. That's good to hear, because I know that's been a struggle. Bailey, you've had a chance to hopefully visit with Mr. Ballard, and any concerns or
just a couple of things, Judge. And first is something that Stacy just said. And so I just like to say that if it was communicated to the child that her dad didn't want her, I think that's entirely inappropriate, because I don't think that's accurate. And so the second thing would be that I know Mr. Ballard has been a little discouraged to do his services because he has done them in the past. And Sarai, continues to be placed in the mental institutions. But I know that he does want his daughter to be healthy. He wants to be her father, and he wants to do the best he can for her. He has signed up to start some of his services. I think really he's just concerned that he doesn't feel like Sarai is improving. But hopefully after what he's heard today, he'll know that maybe we've turned a new leaf.
Good. Well, obviously from the history, I certainly can understand a father's frustration and the situation, just a very difficult situation for any parent. But it does sound like we've got some hope and some good news. And I know that he is going to start that. Is it a parenting class he's getting ready to start?
Yes.
Okay, good. And does Mr. Ballard have other children in the home?
I don't think so. Do you, Michael?
No, sir. My children are not. Manai lives with her mother, and Sarai's with you guys right now, and my son is with his mom.
Okay, and so as far as some of the services that you're getting started on, it's my understanding you're going to start up on that parenting class.
Yeah, it's supposed to start tomorrow. So yes, sir. but I keep doing these classes, and it's not the parenting side because I do everything I can for my daughter as a parent to help her make it through school and whatever she needs. But she continues to act out, and the reason she don't want to talk to my daughter because they had a fight about what she was saying to her, that she was talking about boys and girls and different type of relationships she's having while she's away and stuff like that. And she was 13 and had, relations with someone in my house while I was asleep, So I don't think she's changing, and that's probably going to be a problem for her because she likes boys and girls. So I feel it's going to continue. And the way she was talking to my daughter, the way I got it from my daughter is that she's really not changing.
Well, I
said, sir.
Yes.
She had said that I did tell her that, I was willing to take her back. But like I say, she keeps telling my daughter different things than what she's telling me. So I'm trying to understand, is she going to be the same when she comes? And, I continue to take these classes and it's not me.
Well, let me tell you, I totally understand your frustration. And I know this has been going on for some time. And when you're dealing with a child that has the needs that your child has, it's difficult to address those and also to address, what's going on at the house and that kind of thing. It sounds like some of these folks that have been involved in this for a while are seeing some improvements and have some hope. So I hope you'll give it a chance and hold on to that. And maybe we've got her in the place that she needs to be right now. And maybe we'll make some progress. And if you'll, hopefully, I know you've been patient and cooperative and just continue to work with us, and we'll try to see if we make some progress here. So, and I appreciate you being willing to start those parenting classes. And so we'll, Daniel, when's our next hearing?
August 24th on the 9 o'clock docket, John.
Okay, so that gives us some time to let this new situation sink in, and hopefully those folks will do some good work with her. And so based on that, I will continue to name the department as the temporary managing conservator. I will continue to find that the placement is proper and in the child's best interest and approve that. And we'll continue to make the family plan of service and order of the court. And Michael, you understand that failure of a parent to work the plan can result ultimately in a termination of your parental rights. And I know that's a very serious thing for a parent, but I always have to admonish parents about that ultimate thing that could happen if we don't make progress. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, good luck to you, Michael, and hang in there. And hopefully we're going to see some good improvement by our next court meeting. And with that, I'll let you get back to work or whatever you were doing, Mr. Ballard. Well, do y'all want me to go ahead and call, or do we want to try to reschedule when TD's available?
Well, I listened to my voicemail. He called me on the 28th and said he was going to be in a jury trial. He was not going to be able to make it.
Okay.
Does Judge Baker usually just go ahead and continue on unless there's a problem that arises?
Yes, and of course, Mom's here if she has anything she needs to say, but yes, she's
well. And let me make full disclosure to everyone, just so you're all on the same base. Micah is in the drug court over which I preside, and so I've had a lengthy time spent with her every Friday in drug court. Probably know her better than anybody on this screen right now, so I do have the advantage of knowing the things that she's accomplished and continuing to accomplish. So just so y'all are on the same page, I do have that knowledge and experience. Well, let me go ahead and call then cause number 97-251D in the interest of Simmons. And let's go ahead and have announcements.
Daniel Trial for the department, and Stephanie Corbett is my permanency specialist today.
Ryan Turman for respondent, father Ashton Simmons. Present, my client is currently in the Randall County Jail.
Bailey Sapien on behalf of Stephen Tracy, and my client is in federal prison, and I have not been able to reach him yet, and he's not present.
Stacy Zavala on behalf of Michael.
And we did previously, maybe not on the record, but inform Mr. Turman that his client's test did come back and he is determined not to be the father of the child. So Ryan, I don't know if you have anything else you want to add, or if you have other things you'd rather get busy with.
I've got nothing to add, Judge. If I may, on the next case, it's mine. If you don't mind, though, if I could get out of this jury room and start driving back and just appear via audio on that next one, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's the one that's supposed to start at 1 o'clock.
Yes, sir. Oh, is it at 1? I thought it was. Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's see.
I thought it was right.
Go
Carrillo, or yeah, Godinez.
It doesn't start till 1, so.
Then
if you're,
yeah, I will. I'll skedaddle and get back in real late.
All right, thank you.
See y'all in an hour. Thanks. Bye.
Stephanie, if you want to give us an update.
The update, I mean, Ashton Simmons, I got that back a couple of days ago. I have not been able to speak to him yet. Micah has finished all of her services. She's doing really well. I'm actually going to staff this month to see if we can do maybe a monitored return. I just need one more clean drug screen. And that's all the updates I have. I haven't been able to talk to Stephen Tracy. I do communicate some with his mother, but that's all the updates I have.
Do you know what it was TD was referencing when he said they had some kind of agreement?
Judge, if he was saying he had an agreement, it would be to the order. We sent out an order a week ahead of time, just a proposed order, and if everybody agrees to it, we can call the hearing off. So he was probably mentioning that he would agree to this order for this hearing, but it would be him signing off on it, which I have not received yet.
Yeah, he didn't specify anything about an agreed order. He just said he would have Ms. Palmer on and let her speak on her wishes, and that he would be in a jury trial. He said he sent an email to Rachel and Daniel.
Okay. Stacy, do you have any update on Michael?
Michael's doing really well in placement, and I really don't have a whole lot to add on that.
Okay. Well, I did go back and of course look at the report, and I even went, even though I was fairly familiar, I think, with the circumstances that got us here, went back and looked at the affidavit, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think kind of historically what got Micah here was something that occurred while she was in drug court, which was an admission to drinking some alcohol, I think in the Walmart parking lot, if I recall. That was back in November, October, last fall, I know. I will say since that time, I've drug tested her twice a week, swabs, urinalysis, all that's been random, hasn't been scheduled. She hasn't known when it was coming. We haven't had any problems. I know, when she had that relapse, she was living in Abba House, had Michael, because under Downtown Women's Center's protocol, she had to be moved back to the Haven. Children can't be at the Haven. But I do know when we staffed last week that she had been approved to go back to Abba House, where it is a child appropriate place and where children are allowed and there's supervision. I know she's gotten a really good job recently with the city of Amarillo with really good salary and benefits, and loves that job and has been doing a great job there. She's completed all of her services. So I guess I really don't see a reason why she can't be reunited with Michael today. I mean, I don't know what else. When I look at, she happens to be the last case this morning, but when I look at the cases we've been through this morning with the situations that we've dealt with, and then we look at the situation we've got here, I think we've got somebody that's doing a fabulous job, and I mean, had a minor, relapse last fall and has addressed it and done everything y'all have asked her to do. She's done everything I've asked her to do, and I know she's done everything Downtown Women's Center's asked her to do. You're probably not going to find a person on your caseload that's been supervised any more stringently than Micah Palmer has. And the good news is she's going to continue to be under Downtown Women's Center supervision and my supervision for quite a while to come. So, I mean, to me, it seems like a no-brainer that we would go ahead and, I don't know what one more drug screen's going to do. I'll be screening her Friday. So, I mean, and may get a random screen before that. So, I mean, does anybody really have any objection to me reuniting her and letting her have? I know she's got a place for him there at Alba House and is ready to go if we can do that. Anybody have any big objection to that?
I just wasn't aware that she was able to move back over to that area, but if that's available, I don't have an objection.
I see Stephanie there. That's our caseworker. Stephanie, can you guys unmute and we might ask you a couple of questions?
Yes. Yes.
Stephanie, just so everybody knows, would you state your name for them?
Stephanie Corbett.
And Stephanie, you currently, I guess for lack of a better word, are Micah's caseworker there at Downtown.
Judge, hang on one second. I'm sorry. The CPS worker is also named Stephanie, and I heard her name. I didn't hear the other lady.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I should have been more clear. Sorry, Stephanie Corbett. Go ahead, Stephanie.
My name is Stephanie Davis, and I'm the manager here at Haven House.
Stephanie, you guys have a kind of a workup situation with the ladies there that once they achieve certain goals and things, they move from the Haven, which is kind of a communal place where you can't have children, to Alba House, and then ultimately they go on to Gratitude, where they have their own, what I would call a condominium, and certainly children are welcome there. But has Micah in fact been moved back up to Alba House?
Yes, she could move in today if she needed to. She's already got her apartment already approved. She's scheduled to go in Sunday, but everything is ready to go before then if we need to.
Of course, before the relapse and the move back to Haven, she would have had appropriate cribs and car seats and those kinds of things for Michael. I assume she still has those.
Yes.
Okay. And so as far as Downtown Women's Center is concerned, would there be any reason at this time not to allow her to have custody of Michael?
No reason at all. We highly encourage it.
Okay. And kind of tell us, what kind of supervision is there? I mean, those ladies aren't just there on their own without anybody watching over them or there to give them support. What kind of support do they have once they get over to ABA?
Once they get over there, they have a case manager that's there during the day. And then we have night support staff that lives in a cottage behind the apartments that they live in. So they have, not only that, they have security that is set at night. So they're not able to leave and just come and go as they please. There are cameras, there's everything that we need in place in order to monitor them and make them safe and protected.
Now that Micah's got that good job with the city, what arrangements have been made? And I may need to ask Micah this, but for childcare while she's at work?
So he has been going to the same daycare, Little Nest, since he was 3 months old, and he's continuing to go there with the foster parents. I'm going to keep him in there, and I've already spoke to my boss about it. She said when the situation comes that we can tweak my schedule to where I will be able to work full-time still for her.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions you'd like to ask Stephanie Davis or Micah?
What do I say?
I don't believe I do.
Okay. Bailey, with regard to your client, you haven't had any contact, and so you don't really know his current status or willingness to
No,
do something.
Judge, I don't know anything about him. I've called out to FCI Pollock 3 times and haven't been able. 2 times I got hung up on, and 1 time they said his case manager wasn't there, so I couldn't talk to him. I will continue to try to make contact. And can someone tell me? I think he's just on this because they're still legally married. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay.
So he was incarcerated at the time the child was conceived. So he's not the father, but they are married.
I think Mike has made some inquiries about getting that marriage terminated. And I don't know how much progress has been made on that, but I know that's something we've addressed in drug court as well.
Okay.
Judge, I didn't get a chance to put it on my court report, but since, the paternity test came after, but can we get an attorney for unknown father?
And I'm sorry, Stephanie, tell me that again.
Can we get an attorney for an unknown father?
Oh, certainly. And that's probably an appropriate thing to do. And so, Micah, any idea at all who someone else we might contact that might be a possible father to Michael?
Yes, I do.
Well, will you provide that information to Stephanie Corbett so that maybe she can look into that, and we'll appoint an attorney and see if we can, do you know where that person is?
I don't, but I know that they're in Amarillo.
Oh, okay. And so, as far as you know, living out in the free world right now.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. We'll get Stephanie Corbett that information, and we'll try to make some inroads on that. And I haven't had any experience doing this because I do so few of these CPS hearings, but I suppose that if the court's going to make a change, that the change would be that I would name Micah as the managing conservator and remain the department as the possessory conservator. Is that right, Daniel?
We would stay TMC, Your Honor. You could, there's a couple different ways you can do it. You can order placement with her, or if you order a monitored return, it matters on down the road if we have to make some changes. If you order monitored return prior to placement, we can't go back and do it later. If you order placement now, we can monitor, and then at a later date order a monitored return. You just can't do it in reverse.
Would that be your preference?
Our preference would be to order placement at this time. We're going to monitor kind of the same way anyway. It's just terminology and what we can and can't do if something comes up at a later date.
Okay.
Depending on whether you want to place today, I know they said that she's actually scheduled to go in Sunday. If we wanted to order it for first of next week, it would give our people some time to make the arrangements and to staff with their supervisors before we get into that spot.
Sure. And I know those foster parents have been wonderful, and I don't want to just jerk the rug right out from under them, let them have some time to make some arrangements. Why don't we say Monday, if that works, we'll make that swap, and I will grant the placement that the agent, that the department's asking for with regard to the placement, and make that change. And do we have another hearing scheduled?
Yes, sir. It's for August 29th.
All right, August 29th, and at 9 a.m.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Well, on the 9 a.m. docket, and we'll get the times out at a later date.
Okay, very well. Well, we'll go ahead and make those orders. I do find that those are in the best interest of Michael, and appreciate everybody's participation. And Micah, do I see you Friday? You can give me a thumbs up.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll see you Friday, and I'm stepping out on a limb for you here, so I expect for you to make me proud of my decision. Okay.
Of course I will.
All right. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Are we done until 1 o'clock?
Yes, sir. I believe we are.
Okay. Well, everybody go run, get something to eat, and I'll see you back here at 1.
Thank you.